What is up, Turtle Squad? It's your boy Eric, aka Turtle, and we're back with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different than normal. We're doing a workbench check. So let's go ahead and start with an easy one. This is the VS410 that you guys have already seen in the Revive My Ride series. And there's not really been a lot on this one. We cleaned up our wiring just a bit, just to keep it out of the way. I'm going to probably end up doing a little bit of more cleanup there. I did end up going through all of my parts this week and actually finding some LEDs, and these actually happen to be pink. So we're going to go ahead and add those on there. I wish I knew where I got them from. I want to say they're in Lit LED, which is a company that's no longer really selling parts. But I had them. Let's use them. Let's send it. All right, next up we've got, this is another truck that is actually kind of special to me. A buddy of mine from Hawaii, Dayton, sold this one to me. Shout out to Dayton. But this is an Element Enduro with an IFS1. Now, there is an IFS2 out, and it was already out when I bought this truck, but I kind of just, it was a good deal. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Let's go ahead and get that one and see what we do with it. Worst case, we go ahead and put it up on the shelf, which I did, and it was up on the shelf for months, just kind of sitting there with this body. This body was actually taken out of my brother Brandon's stash after he passed, so it's a very special body to me. I had a vision when I saw this that I wanted to use the Proline utility bed. Black Market RC here out of Central California had this in stock and shipped it to me, and I've been hanging on to it just for this build. Now the idea here is we're building a support truck slash like kind of overlander that we're going to be building in order to tow our build that we're doing in the future. I don't want to spoil what that build is, but it rhymes with Shmee Runner, something like that. So we went ahead and put all of this together, and it's basically a running and driving truck. The body itself, like I said, it's a Proline cab with a Proline box in the back. We added a functional spare and then some items that are going to get glued in after paint, as well as some RC4WD drive that are just going to hang in there, as well as some lights. So we've pretty much got this one in a point where we just need to paint. When it comes to the chassis is pretty much ready to go. The truck just needed a couple of adjustments here and there, which we did do by adding some Rock Pirates RC shock towers in the rear and in the front. The nice thing is that with this being the IFS2, I didn't need a pan hard mount, so I used the rears in the front and the fronts in the rear to hold on to that exhaust. Steering this thing, I have a Reefs Raw 500, which is my go-to servo. This is a Operation 11 Charlie version, which I had, and I figured let's just go ahead and use it, put in something cool. We also added some sliders from Scale Metal Supplies, which are a direct bolt-on, a bumper from Wordy made, and inner fenders from Element RC. So it kind of all came in, as well as kind of a tried and true Hobbywing FOC system. There is a full build series on this happening, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but that's kind of the rundown of what we got accomplished. And if you wanted to check out the paint, make sure you check out that series when it drops after Revive My Ride is done. All right, next up we've got another Element chassis. This was meant to be a Revive My Ride car, but when I looked into it, it was kind of already done, and there wasn't really much for that video series. I've had this chassis sitting like this pretty much, or sitting with no wheels, no shocks, no electronics for a long time. I had it on an Element stock rail chassis. I ended up having a Rock Pirates Interceptor chassis, and I decided let's have some fun with it. This was supposed to be a hard body build, but it just kind of became something that it was going to be too tedious to run, and I needed what I like to call kind of my go-to rides. Now, I already have one, which is my TF2 that started as a Marlin, but is now my trusty Ford F350. Now, that's the truck that I drive pretty much my daily. And what I mean by daily is that I can pick that truck up, go drive, hit 100 gates, and come back, and there's really nothing wrong with it. It's got upgrades to it, but it's not super fully tilt build, which are the ones that usually something ends up going wrong in the first couple of weeks. So I want something that I can drive in that meantime, and I needed a linked rig to be that. So I had this chassis laying around. I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and send it. Now, I did have a Raw 500 servo. This is just a normal one, not a special edition. My tried and true Castle Slate motors with a Micro X ESC. These shocks I had out of an SCX10 Pro. So I went ahead and built those, put them on. They've been fantastic. The ride on this looks like it's going to be great. I had these Reefs RC sliders laying around, and they happen to be perfect with this body that I've also had for a long time. So I said, let's send it. I have these Reefs RC wheels with scale hardware, which look phenomenal. And this is just going to be a rig that I could pick up, hit some lines with, and then, you know, pretty much just put it back and do minor maintenance here and there. Next on this, I do have to put an interior on it and obviously paint. It's very cold outside, but it's getting warmer. And more than anything, it's getting drier. I paint all of my cars outside, so painting in 40-degree weather while it's wet, it's not the ideal condition. So I want to make sure that I take my time with these, that I hope I can just kind of get ready so that I can just hit get-togethers and have fun with. So last but not least, I have my trusty TF2. This rig has made it through years of abuse on basically a stock drivetrain. I've tuned it to my liking, so we did a little bit of maintenance this time. I took apart, you know, the rear axle, the front axle, just re-greased everything. I'm going to switch these out to some Shrink RC body mounts so that these are a little bit loose. These are kind of some Amazon ones that I found, not even from RC4WD. And so I found some Shrink RC mounts that mount to the F350 that just help stabilize the body because the back is a little bit bouncy. Other than that, this rig is pretty perfect. The tires are just getting broken in. These are RTR tires from a Trail Runner, and they've worked out great. It's a brush system on it. Again, this is my daily driver. This is my tried and true truck, so I keep it simple. I have a brush motor from Holmes Hobbies. I have a USTE edition Reefs RC servo, which is number 17 out of 250. Always my number that I get unless it's a special occasion. I've gone through and shimmed all of the steering again. Just make sure that there's no real slack and that everything, the throw is equal both sides. I haven't even updated to our new X-Ring shocks from RC4WD, which is probably the next thing that I'm going to do because we just dropped some really nice Bilstein 4600 yellow shocks, which I think would look really nice on this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick those up in the X-Ring version just to add a little bit better performance to this truck. But the leaf springs are broken in. It crawls really nice. It doesn't have a crazy amount of flex, as you can see, but it drives for being a truck that, you know, in real life would probably be no bigger than 33s. I drive it like I would a truck in real life that would have 33s, so it really just exceeds all of my expectations. The next thing I'll probably do to this is just scale out the back, and then we should be good to go there. So that's going to do it for this week's Workbench check. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe down below. And let me know, what are you working on this week? What RC projects are happening? And what events are you going to this weekend, if any? Or are you just going out and chilling with your cars? Put it down below. I love hearing everything from you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. What is up, Turtle Squad? It's your boy, Eric.
Hello. I'm Eric and you. Hello.
What is up, Turtle Squad? It's your boy Eric, aka Turtle, and we are back with another video. This one's gonna be a little bit different.
The video is gone.
Danny.
The palm.
Danny,
The pop shows writer.